Welcome to the Torah Birthing Podcast. My name is Batya. I'm a Kala teacher and birth educator, and my mission is to help you have an awesome transition into motherhood so you could fulfill your tafkid with support and recognize the power that you have. The Torah is not just history, it's the guide for our lives, and it's a great way to work on mindset too. It's important to know, it's important to learn. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. So today I wanted to talk about what is the objective right way to give birth, and how do you know that your birth plans are the best they can possibly be and that they are aligned with what you're supposed to be doing and what is actually the right thing, and is there even an objective right thing? So what's the right way to give birth, in short? And it's very interesting to me because I feel like we live in a very black and white society, especially when you have social media with these short posts where it's being so authoritative and just trying to share one specific viewpoint with you and just trying to get you to feel one specific thing. Like, if you want to talk about birth, so many women feel pressured to be all holistic and anti-medicine and into their home births at all costs and just wanting to do that and feeling like any intervention is bad. And so much so to the fact that there are some influencers on Instagram who are telling you that if you have pain in your birth, that is a failure on your part. That means that you weren't calm enough. That means that you were not able to achieve the highest and best type of birth. And that's just not true. And then some people think that you need to listen to your doctor or else. Like, just that your doctor knows best and your doctor has your best interests in mind and doesn't have any conflicts, and the hospital system is completely there and set up for you, which it isn't. And there is a lot of lack of nuance. An interesting discussion that I was seeing today, and I see a lot of it, honestly, is just a woman feeling like she must nurse her baby. She must breastfeed. And if she doesn't, she's a total failure as a mother. And so this is one of these women who was able to actually pump and is actually even giving breast milk to her baby. But she just felt like such a failure because she couldn't nurse. And in her head, it was just that this wiring that this is how it has to be or else. And it's a very big deal also because biologically we're kind of wired to really want and feel like we have to nurse, because otherwise babies, unfortunately, they relied on breast milk and there was no option such as formula. So mothers are wired to feel like they have to breastfeed. So I understand where this is coming from, but also there's a culture of saying that there is one right way to do things. And that is absolutely not true. So the truth is that there is no one right way to live, and there is no one right way to birth. So I have women reaching out who are saying, I'm gonna home birth, but I've been sick for days and I just feel so depleted and I'm worried about what my midwives are going to say. First of all, like, speak to your midwives, have a good relationship with them, but also don't completely reject the medical system. If you need to go into the hospital for an infusion because you are like completely depleted and you are close to your due date and you need some iron or something like that, all this stuff is super important, and it doesn't make you less natural. Maybe it does make you less natural, but really this is the way Hashem designed things to be. So really, the best way to give birth is a whole bunch of different approaches that could be really empowering and beautiful for you. And what is the right choice for you, right? Because not everybody has low risk, perfectly smooth pregnancies and births. And even if you do, you might decide to make different choices. You might totally decide to go for that epidural. And every single choice is fair and has that space and is a very valid choice. So it's a very big problem when we have this binary thinking that a lot of us have. And all of this societal pressure that feel like we have to choose between these two extremes. Like, I'm going to be completely natural. I'm just going to home birth and I'm going to just have my midwife and I'm like not gonna do any of the major tests or whatever. And sometimes you can actually do more of the tests. You can actually do more ultrasounds if they're indicated, right? There are reasons to use these things, these tools that Hashem created. And it's so important to have the mix in the right way that is best for you. And some people are thinking, like, are you crazy? Like, how could you do this without an epidural? And the truth is that your desire for a natural birth, if that's what you want, is totally and completely valid. And people say you don't get a medal for it. The way that an unmedicated birth works is absolutely worth it. And on the flip side to that, the way an epidural works is also absolutely worth it. The question is, which choice is the right for you? And so many women do not think about what is right for them. So many women are crowdsourcing and try to figure out what other people think. And this is the way they live their lives and go into their birth. Like, what's normal? What's the way it's supposed to be? How do I have a typical normal birth? There's no such thing. Everybody has their own unique stories. And I am seeing this major lack of a specific energy in birth. And that specific energy is the queen energy in birth. You really need to tune inwards and look at all the options and all the things that people are saying and everybody's advice and find your own intuition and your own power and connect to that. And really, with that, right? Queens don't do this without support. With that, you're partnering with Hashem and you are able to find and do this in a way where you feel like completely in a space of comfort. Even though birth can be very uncomfortable and painful for women, your mind is comfortable with what you're doing. And you're able to do it with the guidance of the people around you without having it overpower you and what you want. And you're able to be fully empowered and present in your birth process. And so I've seen and heard all of these examples of awesome births. And that's why I have a birth story podcast that is so near and dear to my heart. And I love recording these episodes and I love listening to these episodes and I love sharing these episodes because there are so many different ways for women to actually be empowered, right? So I have a bunch of stories of women who have unmedicated births at home. And some even where the midwife actually didn't make it. And if they planned a hospital birth, they wouldn't have made it. And they just were able to feel fully safe and comfortable in their own houses. And that's what they wanted. And that's what they did. And that was such an incredible thing from women who wanted to specifically connect to the pain and specifically feel and experience everything. And that is so, so beautiful. But also I have stories of women who chose an epidural and they felt empowered and in control. A lot of some of my clients and some women who have gone through my birth course they used the epidural as a tool. And even when labor went on for days and days, they were still able to feel empowered and in control and make the choice to use the epidural as the tool if they didn't want it in the beginning, or even if they wanted it in the beginning, and to be able to feel like the real queen that they are with that epidural. I actually know somebody who calls ahead to the hospital to have her epidural waiting for her because she's like, I'm a queen. I got to have it waiting for me. That's what I need. And that is the queen energy that you got to bring. And I actually even know somebody, I'm hoping to one day get her story, but she's had a whole lot of C-sections, and she is one of the most Emunah-filled people that I know, and just feeling super connected to Hashem and her body and her baby. And her births were also super connected and spiritual and meaningful to her because it's the queen energy, really. And recently, and I'm so excited to share this story, it's going to be the next story. As I'm recording this episode, I'm going to be scheduling this other episode that is going to come out soon in Mirz Hashem. And if you're listening to this at a later date, you might actually be able to hear it up already. But the women who have had VBACs. So I have several stories, but I actually can't wait to share the story of a woman who had a VBAC after 2 C-sections, a vaginal birth after 2 C-sections, and how much she just had the mindset of, yes, I can do this. Like, I'm a total queen, and I'm a total boss of this experience. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And there are several stories on there. So if you've had a C-section, like, this is something that's totally something that you can 100%, you can 100% do, you can 100% experience. And this is something that you should definitely check out and definitely listen to the stories. I'm going to link our birth Bina in the show notes. So for sure, check that out if you are at any point of this process. And if you're listening to this before Thursday, Chaf Beis Shvat at night, so it's going to be actually Chaf Gimel, February 20th, I am actually going to be hosting a free class where I talk about how to navigate your partnership with Hashem, how to navigate your birth triangle with Hashem to actually have the most empowering birth possible. So if you're listening to this after that date, you can still catch the replay. I'm going to have that available on my website at any time, so you can listen to that and get empowered and inspired from that. And that is like a little preview of my full course, where I take your hand and I walk through the entire process of just knowing who you are, understanding your full anatomy, not just physically, also your mental and emotional makeup, how Hashem created you as a powerful Jewish woman and the queen of your birth, and just being able to understand that fully and being able to understand how birth works in the world these days, from the history to all the options that you have in your toolbox, right? Because there is no one right way, there is no one right choice. But if you know and understand all your options, then you can internalize it and use that inner wisdom that Hashem built you with to be able to make that choice. And then you can actually take that into your mindset and work and practice your mindset with specific Torah-sourced mindset tracks. So I have relaxation tracks that are from specific Torah sources, many of which are related to birth, specifically talking about birth. So it is super cool stuff. Understanding the Torah's perspective on pain, understanding everything that you need as a Jewish woman to have a fully empowered birth and to fully embrace that. So I would love to see you inside that too. And I would love to walk with you on that journey, because honestly, when you are that creator queen, when you bring that energy into your birth, there's no one stopping you, and there's nothing like it. It's just you and Hashem locked into that special space. And that is the best way to birth. All things said and done, if there is a best way to birth, it is being that queen, sitting there, everyone at your service, and just doing it together with Hashem being in charge. And I am just wishing and hoping and davening for that for you. I would love to hear what you think. Message me on Instagram @TorahBirthing, or send me an email, torahbirthing@gmail.com.